It's been a couple long, hot days the last couple days. Been getting a lot done though. I had a Bus Grease Monkey fan stop by wearing one of our shirts from Teespring, and David was nice enough to run us into town so we could get some supplies for the oil change and stuff. So that helped out a lot. But here's what's been going on with the bus. So I'm hooking up the throttle linkage here to the governor, and some of the bits are from the fire truck, some are from the original engine. Now this engine now has a turbo on it that it didn't have before. So because of the turbo, all this comes across the top of the governor. So the throttle linkage, I don't know if you can see this, but it's hitting the bottom of that boot there. So it can't be as high as it normally used to be. So it has to step down just a little bit in order to clear that. Well, this piece has been added on here and it works as a step down. So I'm gonna put this on the governor, get it down as far as I can, and see if I can clear everything. I had to, you know, some of the bits don't match each other with what's here, so I'm working them with what I've got, and hopefully this will work here. So I can put this on the governor, move it down as far as it'll go. This will step me down even further. So I'm gonna probably put a couple nuts in here to just space it out so it's still tight on there, so there's not so much leeway back and forth. But for now, for temporary, so this is on upside down. This is on upside down in order to get it to drop down further. It was the other way around. And then I can tighten it on the shaft when it's back in the idle position. Somewhere around there, but I need to, that can't touch there, so yeah, I need to be somewhere about there. So I'm doing the oil change on this, and one thing that I just noticed is this transmission line is actually rubbing on the oil filter itself. That's very dangerous. That's really, really thin metal, and something that vibrates up against it will wear a hole through it. So I gotta get that, probably turn this fitting just a little bit and then try and zip tie that hose back so nothing is in contact with that oil filter, because driving down the road, it'll wear a hole through it and you lose all your oil and ruin your engine. So that's not good stuff. Another day. The jack, I couldn't get any boards under it. I had to actually pound it under there with a sledgehammer to get it under there at all. And I thought, well, I'll just lift it up, you know, if I can get it up an inch, the bus up 1.5 inches, I could throw a couple boards under the wheels and then I can properly support the jack. But all the jack is doing is driving itself into the ground. It's easily 4 inches into the dirt right now. I got a piece of plywood, but it's only 1/4 inch plywood, and I couldn't even get it underneath of that jack, and it wouldn't have held up very long anyway. So here I am fighting, jacking up a bus in soft dirt. I have a shorter jack that it's a manual one. I'm gonna have to do that, pump it by hand to get it up in the air. But I gotta get to the controls on this jack to let it down. And it's a couple inches under the ground. This will be fun. Third different jack. This one I had to put 2 boards under it because one board just pushed it into the dirt. So I'm hoping that 2 of them will spread the load even more. And so far I have not lifted the bus at all. It's just dragging the wood into the ground. This is so frustrating. So the wood is just snapping and popping, and it's still driving it. That one 2x4 is completely below the level of the other 2x4 at this point. So I'm almost 4 inches into the ground in the middle, and the bus does not come up. This is bullshit. Don't worry, I'm not going under it. I'm just trying to get the wheels up. Starting to see a little movement under the wheels, but they're still 2 inches in the ground. And that jack is going to max out at about another inch. All I'm doing is pushing this 2x4 down into that level. That's not good. It's just going farther and farther in the dirt. This board's gonna break in half. Gosh dang it. Clearance, but it's still below the dirt. Let's see if I can wedge something under there. Oh my god, this is terrible. Those boards are ruined. I don't know if you can see the shape of them. It may not look a hard work, but it is. I gotta go get some more boards. Get it up a full 2x4 before it maxed out the jacks. So I pounded in a 2x6 that way, a 2x8 that way, and I put some 1-inch shims underneath of it. Hopefully when I set it down, it'll be high enough where I can put the air jack under it. But it's crazy how much that's sunk. That's easily 4 inches into the ground, those boards on the side there, the way they compressed. Because that was all the way tight up against there, and it's up 6 inches, and it hadn't even raised the tires off the ground yet. Insane. Which part of that's making up for how much the tires were sunk in. If I just release the jack, you can see how much the wood raised up. That's only the pressure of how much the wood was out of the way. It's hard to swing a sledgehammer with one hand. All right, get some boards under it. I can let it down and try it again. Look how far that jack is down in there, though. That board is totally gonna break. Insane. This time I put a piece of oak 2x12 under there. It's a real 2x12, it's old school. And then a piece of plywood across the top. You can see how much that board warped there. It was really just pushing in the middle, so hopefully this will strengthen it up a little bit. But that jack is all the way, that's as far down as it'll go, and it's wedged up under there. And see if I can get some height out of it. Everything's creaking and moaning and breaking. Another piece of wood split down the middle. That jack tipped off under there. It's not doing anything right now, but this one's still pretty vertical. This breaker bar gives me a really long extension to get up under there and jack it. Not listening? Hold this. That's one tire, a little bit. I need to get something under the inner. Yeah, get rid of this. it out the other side, yeah.
Yes. Blower drive gearbox is low on oil. There is a sight glass on there. Once I cleaned it off, there's no oil on it. So we're gonna get that filled up here. We got a lot done today. We got these linkages hooked up. We just gotta get some nuts and bolts. We got it figured out. Spent about 4 hours getting the drive shaft hooked up. That was a big pain. 2 hours of which was getting it jacked up off the ground. So it's getting there. Oil change is done. Found a loose bolt on exhaust manifold, and also this is a 8v71TA. It's got that aftercooler line that runs right through there for the cooling, and it is stamped on the valve cover, 370 horsepower. So tomorrow I'm hoping to have this thing rolling. I'm going to do some laps out here in the field with it, at least if not getting it on the road, but just want to see how things are going, and should have it moving under its own power tomorrow.